Let's get the big picture. It's week 26. Our wanderer has spent 10 weeks in Israel after winding his way there, 4 or 5 months, Europe, Morocco, across North Africa, up to Italy, Israel, then up to Cyprus, flight, potato and artichoke boat to Beirut, and now it's around Lebanon this week. And we spent a few days in Beirut, goes up to Hashish country in Baalbek with some buddies he meets up with, then comes back to Beirut, goes up to Tripoli, up the coast here, back to Beirut, and basically that's the week.
Let's roll on to the particulars.
After our overnight boat ride and the hassles at the port, we make it into the big, bad city of Beirut. It's very cosmopolitan. And we're walking around, Dang and I, with our backpacks on our back, and we're rough, and the city is very smooth. And here we go about, and of course, where do you go? You go to the American University. It's part of the invisible post. It's the place to go. Maybe you'll meet some ladies. Maybe you'll see some people who'll put you up. Well, we walk over there, find the place somehow, and the gates are locked because it's the weekend. But we walk about the city and somehow find our way to a youth hostel. So it's our wanderer's first full day in Beirut on the streets. First, I go walking around and, there's a guy, picks me up. Hey, there's a hippie freak, So I meet this guy and he says, take me to the Pigeon Rocks. Well, that's where everybody goes when they're in Beirut. I was surrounded by Arabs as we get close to it who were very aggressive. It got very heavy. The guy that brought me there, he disappears. A couple of guys in the crowd that formed around me get kind of really pushing and started shoving up against me and yelling at me in Arabic. I don't know what they're saying. And I don't like it at all. So I kind of start squirming my way through the crowd. And finally, I do extricate myself from the confrontation by slipping through the crowd that surrounded me and leaving the area by simply keeping my cool and walking away from the Pigeon Rocks crowd. But I'm pretty shook up at this point.
After slinking my way out of this hostile crowd, I ran into another fellow. He comes up to me and he says to me, "Have you been to Palestine?" I said, "No," not wanting to admit anything. And he looks at me with a big smile on his face and says, "Well, I have 33 times.
I go, whoa, what does that mean? Well, he winks. This guy is a guerrilla who's making forays into northern Israel from Lebanon. So I'm chit-chatting with him. I don't know what else to do. So I go up to this 25-story building up to about the 20th floor or something. We're up there in this office. And these are pan-Arabic guerrilla fighters. They're like against it from the fact that Israel shouldn't exist. And we're from all the different countries. And there was this really cool Iraqi guy. And he had this really cool flute he showed me. And they knew all these guys in Detroit. And it was a very interesting conversation and kind of scary when this one guy, the chief, says to me, you must be against. I said to him, against what? Well, the military complex and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it was kind of an interesting, scary event at that point too. So there's two in a row. Well, I leave these guerrilla guys, these revolutionaries, and when I get down onto the streets, some other guys call me in, and I'm drinking tea from a hookah and smoking from a hookah. Everybody's all very friendly now all of a sudden. It's going back and forth with me.
After this crazy day on the streets of Beirut, I find my way back to the youth hostel. It's late afternoon. It's quiet. One fellow has left his guitar behind. I borrow it to play myself some bluesy music and think about my need to go home. I've had enough.
And as I'm coming out of this bluesy time of being harassed and everything, my buddy Daniel, the Frenchman that came with me from Cyprus on the boat, he comes and says, "Hey, I got these guys and we're going to go to Baalbek tomorrow with Hashish." I go, "Okay, I'll go." So we spend another night in the kibbutz, I'm sorry, in the youth hostel. And we get out of town the next day. This one dude, another Frenchman, he's got a vehicle to take us there. Well, that's pretty cool. Well, I didn't drive, of course, but he takes us and we go up and we go to a place called Baalbek, which is supposedly the center of the hashish world in Lebanon. Well, it's also a place that's full of ruins. The Temple of Bacchus, Roman god of wine. You know, it's like all kinds of crazy stuff, and there's ruins, as you can see from some of these slides here from Google. And it's a very cool place. But as we're kind of walking around, you know, it's just like a town too. And these ruins were all around the place, but it was quite picturesque, I can tell you. But we're down in the city part, and we run into a dude, and he's a crazy guy. And he's named Ali, he tells us. Oh, Francisco, he's a crazy man, you know, getting all hyper and shit. And he's leading us around, and me and these three other guys. There was also an Austrian fellow there too. So there's four of us hippies from the West, you know. And he's leading us to his house, where we had this incredible meal, where he's flipping these breads. They're like 2 feet in diameter, and they're soft and chewy, and he's got a stack 1 foot high, and he's sending them out around, and his food's coming out, and these other two guys show up from America, and this big guy named Lad that I meet, and it's really crazy, and this guy's hyper crazy. So finally, after this great meal, one of the best I ever ate in my life, he leads us out of there, and he leads us over to a pool hall where they got all the Beatles and Stones music that anyone's ever seen in singles right in a row. This town was kind of neat, and we were having a good time, dancing and getting crazy in this pool hall. And then this guy takes us back, and he puts out all these feather beds, and like the 6 of us are sleeping on this guy's floor. He's feeding us again. We get up in the morning, we go, like, you know what? This guy's too crazy. No one's howling this guy. He was kind of made us feel vulnerable. So we said, hey man, we're gonna go out. We heard in the country where the farmers are. We're not gonna buy, he was offering us hashish, of course. I didn't mention that part. We've been smoking this great Lebanese hash the whole time we hit this place. Oh, by the way, this guy's walking around. Everything's like a crazy place. It's different. There's guys with rifles out in the country we saw, and this is a different environment here. We knew that when we came there. We sort of run by, who knows, the mob, or who knows what the hell was going on. But we thought this was too hot to handle, so we said, we're going out into the country. Now, I really don't know where the hell we went from there, but we went out into a field out in the mountains, and we were sleeping out in our sleeping bags. And then it started raining, and we got into the car. We're sitting there, and some farmer comes up knocking on the door and says, hey, come on with us. I'll get you something. So he invites us in, and this guy, the Frenchman that owned the car, Christopher's his name, Christophe, he's buys a kilo of hashish from this guy in a powder, in bags, like. And we said goodbye to him. We went back out, and then all of a sudden another guy comes, and he leads us to his house, and he takes us, a farmer, into his farmhouse, and he is putting out another great meal for us. Hookahs, hashish. This guy's got the hash. He's got it in the bars, and he's got a bag of it, a duffel bag full of hashish that had to have 200 kilos in or something. You couldn't even pick this thing up. And then these guys start negotiating, and Christopher buys like 5 kilos in these sacks, these white 250 gram sacks. And they got these stamps on them and stuff. Wow, man, he's trading his watch. It's a crazy night. And then we get up the next day, and it's like, wow, man, we got to get out of here. And I just felt like I don't even want to be with this guy because it's crazy. But everyone's carrying rifles there at this point. It's an armed place. We know and heard the police don't come there because the people don't allow it. I'm thinking we're in this town near to Makna, but it's some little town out here because these are the fields where they're growing the hashish. And there's other stuff growing too, but there's a lot of hashish. and it grows their marijuana plants and it's pollen off the top. And I think we're in this place here near this station, and this guy, Christopher, he starts doing something. His tire, he says he's got a flat tire, and we're hobbling around. So these kids are coming up and they're offering us hashish, little pieces of little kids about 5, 6 years old. They would like some hashish. We're smoking out of a pen. We rigged it up so we could smoke it on a cigarette with a pen bottom to suck it up. We're getting a nice buzz on. And all of a sudden, Christopher comes and says, let's go. I said, okay. And we got a nice buzz on at this point. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do about getting on with this guy, though, because it's not good. So from this Makna area, we're going to go back to Beirut. But on the way, Christopher pulled a stunt. He stopped this car, and out of the front of the car, there was a metal plate. And he pulled something inside the car, and the plate came up, and that's where the spare tire was. The engine was in the back of this old Renault. And he stuffed all this hashish inside the spare tire, stuffed it back in, and put the plate back on, and wow, you couldn't see it. So I'm like, you know what? This is cool. I had a little bit of ash in my pocket that I got, but at least I wasn't involved, or I thought we could get away with this hashish for some crazy reason. So we headed down the road, and we got on the road on the way back to Beirut. Let's see where that is again. There's Tripoli. We're coming a little bit north, and whoop, we get stopped. Big adventure. It's some kind of police, military. They got guns. They're going to search our car, and they did. And they never found the hashish. And the guy said to me, because I spoke English and so could he, says, I don't know where the hashish is. I know you have the hashish. Goodbye and good luck. And we went back to Beirut. This Tripoli turns out to be a sort of a nothing town. It's full of Arab Christians, believe it or not, lots of them. And I was directed to a YMCA, and I spent a couple nights there, got a good shower in, and wound up with some girls, believe it or not, at a dance for the YMCA. Oh, I forgot to mention, there were 2 American conscientious objectors who were doing volunteer service at the YMCA in Tripoli, and they put me up. And this one guy was a very good guitar player, and he was playing, and I had a good time with those guys, and it really kind of brought me back to my American roots. But the next day, I'm like, hey, I'm getting out of Dodge. I'm going to head out. I'm going back to Beirut. And thinking I'm going to go through to Damascus, because it would be technically my 3rd time in Beirut. I've had enough. Week 27, a preview. Well, we'll be leaving Tripoli, going through, hitchhiking through Beirut, then down the road to Damascus from Beirut. Let's see if we can find that for you, folks. Here's Beirut, Damascus a little bit south. There's a major highway that takes you through there. And on my way, I lose my flute. And when I get to Damascus, wow, I buy myself that flute, and I run into the guy, the big American I met with the crazy Ali Francisco guy in Baalbek, Lad. And there was a beautiful girl there I get involved with. And then Lad and I, we wind up being buddies, and we make our way up the road, and we find out about this very cool place called Palmyra. First, we make our way to Damascus, to Homs. Palmyra is out in the desert, and it's a place where there are many ruins also. That's an exciting adventure. We then, after a night there, return to Homs. We go through Hama, another big town, and up to famous Aleppo, spending really basically a couple of nights there, enjoying the market, and then deciding it's on our way, I'm still with Lad, to Turkey. And we're going to go towards Istanbul, because I think I'm ready to go home, but I'm not sure, but I'm going to go to Istanbul. So I head that way with Lad. We'll see you next week for some more adventure in Syria and on to Turkey. We enter an office where 3 of his revolutionary comrades are sitting on couches, smoking cigarettes and talking in Arabic. Everyone goes silent as I enter the room. I'm greeted with faces of derision and appalling anger. It's quiet enough to hear a pin drop,
My physical presence has once again triggered negative reactions. My friend talks in Arabic to his comrades. I can't understand anything being said. Whatever he said must have worked because the guys go back to cleaning their weapons, smoking cigarettes, and paying me no mind. What did you say to them? I told them you are for us and against Israel. Why? I never said that. You want me to tell them different? No, I'm fine. I don't want any trouble, I say. I'm just a peaceful guy. We are against the military-industrial complex around the globe, but especially here in our homeland of the Middle East. Armies are killing, and societies are being split everywhere. This is why we unite to fight, says the revolutionary terrorist. Our planet has been taken to an ugly place in history. I understand your philosophy with greater clarity now. I'm just a neutral. I want peace and love, brother. We shake hands in a tight grip. I'm nervous inside, but doing all I can to maintain calm self-control. We smile back at each other. Why do you look this way? He inquires. Freedom of expression, man, I say. I'm an American hippie. Why hippie? I don't know. A sign of the times, I guess. You should get a headscarf. Be more modest in Arab lands. You don't want to antagonize the people.